What do you make of these public hearings so far?
You know, I want to stress that I opposed the impeachment process earlier in the year until it was discovered that the president had tried to bribe or extort a foreign power into intervening on his behalf in an American election. And I don't believe the House had any choice but to begin these hearings to investigate that. Otherwise, we set a precedent where a president can pay off or extort any foreign power to intervene in a United States election. And I don't think we want to set that precedent. I think today there was two sides. There was a factual side about what went down with regard to that, and there was an attempt by the Republicans to disrupt that factual process. They're doing that because the facts aren't on their side. So let's wait and see how the process goes, but I'm glad for the investigation.
Matt Makoviak, your thoughts on the hearings so far?
Yeah, so we're one day in. I watched most of the first hearing. I think it was around 6 hours. I can't imagine most normal people have a pain threshold that's that high. Look, this was a snoozer of a hearing. I think you can make a strong argument there were no new facts. There's been some conjecture about a call that Ambassador Sondland, the ambassador to the EU, made. I think he was in Ukraine speaking to the president that someone else may have overheard. So we'll see where that goes. I'm sure that's the next so-called bombshell. Look, the challenge here for the Democrats is that their two star witnesses today never spoke to the president. And so they're reporting second and third hand something someone told them. And so it just doesn't have the same weight that it would have if they were speaking directly to the president. If you look at the transcript of the call, when the president spoke about a favor, he was talking about the 2016 election and foreign meddling in that election. Only much later was he talking about investigations into corruption related to the gas company that Hunter Biden was serving on its board. Look, I'll admit this. I wish the president hadn't mentioned the Bidens at all on that call. I think that that was not something he should have done. But making a mistake on a call, doing something that someone could have seen as inappropriate, is not a threshold for impeachment. Impeachment overturns the election results from 2016. It's the single harshest thing we have in our constitutional system. I don't think this meets that test.
Glenn, did anything come up today that's going to change people's minds one way or the other?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I think we're so polarized. There's 40% of America that seems to agree with Trump that if he shot somebody on Fifth Avenue, they'd stick with him. So I don't know if it's going to change their mind. But this is not about a phone call. This is about a president overtly bribing or extorting a foreign power to dig up dirt on a political opponent, thereby subverting a United States election. If Republican members of Congress want to vote to make that the precedent in America, well, let's let them vote that. It's not so much about Trump. It's about the integrity of the United States democracy. And I can't imagine Republicans want to vote to subvert it just by supporting Trump, who one way or the other is going to be gone before we know it.
Okay. Matt Makoviak, talking about votes and the procedures of all this, after we have these public hearings, is that when we're going to see an impeachment vote? Normally, impeachments are in front of the Judiciary Committee. This is the Intelligence Committee. How is all that going to work?
Yeah, it's a good question. The House Democrats have laid out the process through the inquiry vote, which I'll point out received no Republican votes and, in fact, received 2 Democratic no votes. In the Clinton impeachment that occurred in the late 90s, you had 30 separate Democrats that voted with Republicans to go forward with the impeachment inquiry because they thought it was a fair process. So, yeah, I think you're going to see it go from the Intelligence Committee in terms of the so-called fact-finding portion. It will then go to the Judiciary Committee. I imagine that's where they'll consider the actual articles of impeachment. Then it would go to the floor for a vote. Look, I do think Democrats are going to take the step of impeaching the president in the House. I just don't think it's going to go anywhere in the Senate, although you may see a 4 to 6 week trial after the first of the year, which is going to come at a very inconvenient time for a number of Senate Democrats who are running for president. So, right. But back to the public opinion question, I don't see today changing public opinion. We're going to need much, much, much more than what we got today.
Okay, well, there is more to come. Glenn, Matt, we've got to wrap it. Thank you both very much.
Thanks.
Thanks.